Alright, now I want to talk about intimidation and people that work out, lift a lot of weights, get a lot of muscle mass. They look big, they might look intimidating, but I just want to basically explain, that, when it comes to lifting weights, working out, getting in shape, that's one thing. Like getting a body that looks, top notch, a body that's just physically appealing, whatever. That is one thing, but another thing is like your craft, your art, or even your sport. That requires skill, talent development. I'm not saying that bodybuilding and weightlifting does not take effort and hard work. It does take effort and hard work, but all it is just, physical. All it is just, how the external looks, and that's not anything that has to do with anything that where you develop any type of artful skill. And I think that if anything, that should be just a part of your training for whatever physical training you might be doing, whatever sport you're practicing or whatever art you're doing. That should just be a supplement for your training to get you to another level. So meaning, like martial arts, if you're a martial artist, just be careful not to be too focused on lifting weights and exercising solely just to get, a better looking physique, because that really has nothing to do with martial arts. I mean not nothing, but it should never be the primary focus of why you're training. That should just be like an automatic, it just happens on its own because of your focus in the martial arts. Meaning like you're focused in your training to become a better martial artist, to be better, more proficient in combat. And as a result, you end up weight training, you end up doing calisthenics, you end up running a lot, you end up stretching a lot, and then you end up getting into physique that a lot of people, admire. But you didn't out there from the get-go, oh, I'm just going to work out just so I can get cut and just look big. That was not your intention. But when you train in martial arts, you end up just, your body just ends up, sculpting to a way that a lot of people admire, But it shouldn't be your primary focus, because when it ends up becoming your primary focus, then you end up becoming less of an artist and more of just somebody that's just, I guess self-absorbed and overly concentrated on his physique, where it's really not an art anymore. It's just, it's like an inflated ego where you're just trying to impress other people. You're not doing it for yourself, you're not doing it to build yourself as an artist anymore. You're kind of just doing it just to impress other people. And I think that's important, that you realize that if you ever start heading that direction, to kind of refocus back on why you're really doing what you're doing. Okay, a lot of times people fall prey to that. And it's not just martial arts. I mean, think about any sport. I mean, if you're a basketball player, and you want to get really good, you're going to spend most of your time on the court getting good. And naturally you're going to develop those leg muscles because you're going to be jumping a lot. Naturally, you're just going to develop cardio endurance because you're going to be running up and down the court a lot. And most of your time is going to be spent on the court, not in the weight room. Because if you spend most of your time in the weight room, then you're not going to be a good basketball player anymore, because all you do is lift weights. Next thing you know, you're shooting off bricks all the time because your muscles are getting in the way or whatever, or you spend 40 hours in the week in the weight room, and then your shots are off now, because you can't even make it because you don't practice anymore. And that's what I mean about focusing, knowing what you're trying to get good at, and just basically remember that that's the foundation. Yeah, of course, as a basketball player, if you lift weights here and there as a supplement, it will help you enhance your game, make you stronger to get rebounds or whatever. But just remember that the lifting the weights and all that stuff it's a supplement, okay? The best basketball players is not about, does he have a cut six-pack? That has nothing to do with his skill level as a basketball player. I mean, if he's a good basketball player, chances are he's in shape. And if he's in shape, I mean, there's good chances that he will have a six-pack. But it doesn't mean that, somebody has a six-pack, so now that means he's good in basketball. That doesn't go like that. And I think a lot of times people, they do that in martial arts. They see somebody, he's in shape, so that means he can fight. No, that does not mean that, it has nothing to do with it. I mean, that might, a good fighter might have a good have a six-pack, but it wasn't because, he just, was training to impress people to get the six-pack. He just trained it as a fighter, and then as a trained fighter, the six-pack just came on its own. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I think that's something that people got to realize. And another thing is, that when you start to realize this and you start to see that just because someone's big and tall and muscular, when you start to see the reality of it, it doesn't mean that they can fight, because it really doesn't. Because if they don't have any skill in fighting, they don't know how to defend themselves, they don't know how to protect the vital parts of their bodies, they have no idea how to punch or kick or any of that stuff, then it doesn't matter how great his physique looks, somebody that knows how to fight, that does a dedicated martial arts will destroy the person. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And when you notice that as a martial artist, you will see that if anything, if you allow your mind to be intimidated by somebody that's taller than you or a little bit more muscular or whatever, then basically you have given that person an advantage, and now they have a mental advantage over you. So if you ever got in a fight with the person, you already gave up that advantage, okay? And I think it's important, if you want to be a great martial artist, is when you train and you get to see the reality of it, and to never allow yourself to be to have fear over somebody or be intimidated over somebody because they might be bigger or stronger or they look stronger or whatever. Because you only, that's not benefiting you. That just basically means that, mentally you're not at the level that you should be as far as like an advanced martial artist. An advanced martial artist, truly advanced martial artist, wouldn't allow anything like that to intimidate them. You wouldn't have that type of fear because you know the reality of the situation. When it comes to fighting, I mean, it's a whole dynamic, situation that's not just about who's stronger. I mean, there's so many other factors that come into play that that strength is not, it's not even the all and be all of anything anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just to be aware of that, and just to remember your focus when you're training. To not be too overly concentrated on making your physique look the best that it could or whatever. That's not. You end up not being a martial artist anymore. You end up being more of a bodybuilder, and that's not a martial artist. So just remember to remember the distinction between, do I want to be a bodybuilder, just look good, not know how to have any skill or talent, and not know how to fight, or do I want to be a martial artist and know how to fight, have skill, have talent, and then as a result, my body physique will look, pretty much just as good as a bodybuilder or whatever. Okay, so just remember that when you train. Okay.